Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio.
Welcome to Policy and Rights, the show about government policy and human rights.
Welcome back to Policy and Rights here in Depictions Media Radio. I am your host, Michael Clogs. On the Black Sea, we have a signed agreement between Russia and Ukraine to allow shipments of grain to go through Turkey, and the shipments are still sitting there. In the next couple segments, you'll hear the signing of the agreement for to allow the grain to ship between all the parties that needed to be there in order to make things happen, as well as in the segment after you're going to hear from the First Lady of the Ukraine speaking about what war looks like for a country, and a country trying to defend its sovereignty. But first, why aren't the shipments of grain, the ships moving with the grain? What is the holdup? And the answer is kind of out there. Shipping companies are now rushing to export millions of tons of grain trapped in Ukraine despite a breakthrough deal to provide safe corridors through the Black Sea. That is because of explosive mines drifting in the waters. Ship owners are assessing the risk of. Many still have questions over how the deal will unfold. The complexities of the agreement have set off a slow, cautious start, but it's only good for 120 days, and the clock began ticking just a week ago. And yet the shipments still haven't moved. The goal over the next 4 months is to get some 20 million tons of grain out of Ukraine seaports blocked since Russia's February 24th invasion. That provides time for about 4 to 5 large bulk carriers per day to transport grain from ports to millions of impoverished people around the world facing hunger. It is also ample time for things to go awry. Only after signing a deal in the last few days, Russian missiles struck Ukraine's Port Odessa, one of those included in the agreement. Another key element of the deal's assurance is that shipping and insurance carrying Russian grain and fertilizer will not get caught up in a wider net of Western sanctions. But most importantly, the shipments have not moved because of the threat of explosive mines. With the clock ticking and the in the world watching, are they going to get those shipments of grain across the Black Sea and moved into Africa, where people are actually waiting for the grain and foodstuffs and the fertilizer to feed millions of other human beings on our planet. So let's listen to how some of the things unfolded and listen to Mrs. Zelensky talk about her country and what she has seen happen to her people.
Cumhurbaşkanım, Sayın
His Excellency the President, His Excellency Secretary General, and distinguished guests. Signed between Russia and Ukraine, witnessed by Turkey and the United Nations. Welcome to the signature ceremony. Now I would like to invite His Excellency UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres for his remarks.
Your Excellency President Erdogan, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Today there is a beacon on the Black Sea, a beacon of hope, a beacon of possibility, a beacon of relief in a world that needs it more than ever. I want to recognize and thank all those who helped make it happen. To our hosts, President Erdogan and the government of Turkey, your facilitation and persistence have been essential through every step of this process. Çok teşekkür ederim. Thank you very much. To the representations of the Russian Federation and Ukraine, you have overcome obstacles and put aside differences to pave the way for an initiative that will serve the common interests of all. Promoting the welfare of humanity has been the driving force of these talks. The question has not been what is good for one side or the other. The focus has been on what matters most for the people of our world. And let there be no doubt, this is an agreement for the world. It will bring relief for developing countries on the edge of bankruptcy and the most vulnerable people on the edge of famine. And it will help stabilize global food prices, which were already at record levels even before the war, a true nightmare for developing countries. Specifically, the initiative we just signed opens up paths for significant volumes of commercial food exports from three key Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea: Odessa, Chebanovsk, and Yuzhny. The shipment of grain and food stocks into world markets will help bridge the global food supply gap and reduce pressure on high prices. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this agreement did not come easy. Since the war started, I've been highlighting that there is no solution to the global food crisis without ensuring full global access to Ukraine's food products and Russian food and fertilizers. Today, we took important steps to achieve this objective, but it has been a long road. In April, after being received by President Erdogan, I met with President Putin and President Zelensky to propose a plan for solutions, and we have been working every day since. It took immense efforts and commitment by all sides and weeks of around-the-clock negotiations. The commitment and dedication are even more vital today. This initiative must be fully implemented because the world so desperately needs it to tackle the global food crisis. We count on the government of Turkey to maintain its critical role going forward, and I am here to pledge the full commitment of the United Nations. We will remain closely involved in working for the agreement's success. We are ramping up efforts to ensure the UN is positioned to deliver on its commitments. I am grateful for the work of the two UN task forces that developed a parallel, coherent and coordinated approach. One led by Martin Griffiths and the Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, and including the International Maritime Organization, focused on the shipment of Ukrainian grains through the Black Sea. Today, we are announcing the establishment of a joint coordination center to monitor implementation of the Black Sea Initiative. The other task force, led by Rebecca Greenspan, Secretary General of UNCTAD, centered on facilitating the unimpeded access to food and fertilizers originating in the Russian Federation to global markets. And it also resulted in an agreement. I urge all sides to spare no efforts to implement their commitments. We must also spare no effort for peace. This is an unprecedented agreement between two parties engaged in bloody conflict. But that conflict continues, and people are dying every day, and fighting is raging every day. The beacon of hope on the Black Sea is shining bright today, thanks to the collective efforts of so many. In these trying and turbulent times for the region and our globe, let that beacon guide the way towards easing human suffering and securing peace. Thank you.
Birleşmiş Milletler Genel Sekreterine teşekkür ediyoruz.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Secretary General. Distinguished guests, now I would like to invite to the floor His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan for his address. Distinguished Secretary General, honorable ministers, esteemed members of the delegation, I greet you all with my most heartfelt feelings and respect. Welcome to Istanbul, the meeting point of civilizations and continents. We're together again after the meeting we held on the 29th of March, which constituted an important turning point in the negotiation process. I'm very pleased to welcome you, our esteemed friends, back in Istanbul on another historic day. We are proud to be instrumental in an initiative that will play a major role in solving the global food crisis that has been on the world's agenda for a long time. With the text agreed upon today, from Africa to the Middle East, from America to Asia, we will contribute together to preventing the danger of hunger that billions face from all over the world. Ensuring world security of supply in agricultural and food stuff is important in many aspects. With this step taken, possible additional soaring prices caused by the loss of yield to be caused by current heat waves and drought will be prevented. We are also helping with controlling food inflation, which has become a global problem. Of course, we did not get to this point all of a sudden. We have carried out an intensive and arduous process with the Ukrainian and Russian authorities and the United Nations authorities for the shipment of the grain waiting in Ukrainian silos through the Black Sea. We have been in constant contact with our Ukrainian and Russian counterparts throughout the whole process. We have held extensive consultations to address the expectations and allay the concerns of both countries regarding this sensitive process. The ministers of foreign affairs have made great efforts. The contributions of the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Guterres, and his team contributed to the plan, the first draft of which was prepared by them, and that's very commendable. I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency President Zelensky and His Excellency President Putin for their leadership. With the vessel traffic that will start in the coming days, we will offer a new airway for breathing from the Black Sea to many countries worldwide. From the exit of the vessels to their safe transfer and arrival at the port of destination, consensus has been reached upon all processes. The execution and supervision of this extremely important plan will be carried out by the Joint Coordination Center to be established in Istanbul. The support of the international community is without doubt of great importance in the successful implementation of the plan. Distinguished friends, about 4 months ago, again in Istanbul, negotiations were held between Ukraine and Russia, and we made progress back then. And this raised hopes that the war would end. Unfortunately, the developments that took place after that meeting fueled the conflicts. We have been saying from the very beginning that there will be no winner in this war, that not only the parties but the whole world will suffer losses. The conflicts that have been going on without interruption for about 5 months and their global effects unfortunately confirm this prediction. As it drags on to silence the guns, we have more economic costs and also more human losses. The war not only adversely affects the parties and the countries in the region, but the whole of humanity, including those in the most remote corner of the world. However, we also believe that this trend is not destined. We want these conflicts, which cost the lives of innocents, to end as soon as possible. We all know that there will be no losers of a just peace. This joint step we're taking today in Istanbul, together with Russia and Ukraine, will be a new turning point that will revive the hopes for peace. This is my sincere hope. Whatever direction the developments on the field would take, the war will finally end at the negotiating table. This friendly and peaceful atmosphere that we have established will be to the benefit of the whole humanity, and this will transform into steps aimed at ending the war. We will continue to act with the awareness of the responsibility our understanding of civilization imposes on us. We will continue to fulfill the requirements of being neighbors until peace prevails in our region. May God help us all. As I end my words with these thoughts, I would like to thank you again. Thank you all for your efforts. I hope that the deal that will be signed today will be instrumental for the good of our countries and all humanity. I also would like to express my gratitude personally and on behalf of my people to everyone who has contributed to the process to come to this day, and I greet you again with this respect. We would like to thank His Excellency President Erdogan for his remarks. His Excellency President, His Excellency UN Secretary General, and distinguished guests. Now we move on to the signature ceremony of the documents to be signed between Russia and Ukraine and Turkey, to be signed between the Ministry of Defense of Russia and Ukraine under the witness of UN. The signature ceremony of the safe transportation of grain and foodstuff on behalf of Turkey, Minister of Defense Hulusi Akar, Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu, representing Russia. On behalf of UN, Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
Şimdi de
Now, between Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Turkey and Ministry of Development of Ukraine for the safe transportation of grain foodstuffs. Alexander Kubrakov from Ukraine, the Ministry of Development, and from Turkey, Minister of Defense Hulusi Akar, and on behalf of the UN, Antonio Guterres.
değerli konuklar,
Distinguished guests, the signature ceremony is over.
Welcome to this solemn and special presentation. As we gather here in our temple of democracy, war rages in Ukraine to protect democracy. All here are in awe and grateful to the Ukrainian people that they have displayed unimaginable heroism and they confront unconscionable atrocities. And the Congress remains with the Ukraine as it fights to defend democracy, not only for its people, but for the world. We are honored to be joined by the First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska, who traveled here from the heart of the war zone. We look forward to hearing her report on security, economic, and humanitarian conditions on the ground. Madam, thank you also to the Ambassador Oksana Makarova for joining us today. Madam Ambassador, thank you for joining us. Sitting there with our minority and majority leaders of the House, and we welcome the majority leader of the Senate, the Republican leader of the Senate, the Senator McConnell as well, and members of the Senate to the House side. Well, we're in the middle of the Capitol. Madam First Lady, I present to you members of the United States Congress, strong supporters of the Ukrainian people, and great admirers of you and your husband's leadership. Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you First Lady Olena Zelenska. Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. You have the leadership and majority.
Good morning.
Dear Madam Speaker, dear members of the U.S. Congress, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful for the opportunity to be here and address the Congress of the United States of America. I know this is the first time when the wife of the president of a foreign country has the honor to address you within these walls. This is really important for me and for my country. And today I want to address you as politicians and party representatives, as well as mothers and fathers and sons. I want to address you not as First Lady, but as a daughter and as a mother. No matter what positions and titles we reach in our lives, first of all, we always remain a part of our family. We always remain children to our parents. And no matter how old we are, they love us as their children. And we are always parents to our children, and no matter what happens to them, they will always remain our children. This is the great truth of our life. Our family represents the whole world for us, and we do everything to preserve it. And we are happy when we succeed in it, and we cry when we cannot save it. And we remain completely broken when our world is destroyed by a war. Tens of thousands of such worlds have been destroyed in Ukraine. I am waiting for a picture to be demonstrated. This is Lisa. I met this girl before Christmas when we were preparing greetings of Christmas, Merry Christmas for children. I remember her just like she is here, a cheerful, playful little rascal. The other video was made by Lisa's mother, whose name is Irina, when she took her child to school, and she asked her, "Where are we going, sweetie?" The daughter calls the names of her favorite teacher. Lisa was only 4 years old. She is no longer with us. Here is the stroller of Lisa's. On July 14th, Lisa was killed by a Russian missile attack on our city of Vinnytsia in the center of Ukraine. 25 people were killed, almost 200 injured. Lisa's mother is in serious condition, and for several days nobody dared to tell her that Lisa has died. This is where the words, "Where are we going?" have been ringing in my ears for 6 days, ever since it happened. Usually, the wives of presidents are exclusively engaged in peaceful affairs: education, human rights, equality, accessibility, and maybe you expected from me to speak on those topics. But how can I talk about them when an unprovoked invasive terrorist war is being waged against my country? Russia is destroying our people. Here is another rocket launch, and here is the city of Ochakiv in the south of Ukraine. The residential area was hit by a missile. This girl is Eva. She liked to draw pictures. She was only 5. Another Russian missile. Eva was killed along with her grandmother. These young faces are the faces of employees and visitors of the shopping mall in Kremenchuk. They are no more. And there is no shopping mall because the Russian rocket burned them down and killed them all. This is a journalist. Her name is Vera. She has worked in the Ukrainian media for 20 years, the last 4 years in the Kyiv Bureau of Radio Liberty. She died in Kyiv from another missile attack. Since the beginning of the war, Russia has launched over 3,000 different cruise missiles on Ukraine. But to destroy somebody's family, you don't need a missile. Maybe a shrapnel will do it. This boy's name is Andrei. Fortunately, he's alive. He is now in Germany. He is 3 years old. A few days ago, he celebrated his birthday on the 8th of July. You may ask, what is he doing in Germany? He is learning there how to use prosthesis. A 3-year-old boy. A Russian plane dropped a bomb on the house where the family of Andrei spent the night. He was there together with his parents and his sister Anya. How many children like him are there in Ukraine? How many families like this may still be destroyed by the war? Those are Russia's Hunger Games, hunting for peaceful people in peaceful cities of Ukraine. They will never broadcast this on their news. That's why I'm showing it to you here. Here is the family of policeman Oleg Fedek. His father, mother, wife, 6-year-old daughter, as well as 1.5-month-old son. All of them were shot by the Russian occupiers in a car when they were trying to evacuate from Nova Kakhovka. Then I met with Oleg. He said, he told me a terrible story. The adults died right away, while children for the next 1.5 hours were crying in the car until they died. Nobody was allowed to approach them to save them. Here is Sofia, the girl from Bucha, who lost her mother during the occupation and her arm, and now she's suffering from phantom pains. The family of Olga Sukhenko, she was the village head in Kyiv region who saved her fellow villagers from the Russian invaders until the last, and then was killed by Russians along with her son and husband. A family from Odessa where 3 generations of women were killed by one missile. Valeria Hlodin, her mother, and a 3-month-old daughter. And a 96-year-old Boris Romanchenko. Can you imagine? This person survived 4 Nazi concentration camps, including Buchenwald, and died in Kharkiv from Russian shelling. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, the American people and American families, the Congress and President Biden have already done a lot to help us to stand up to the enemy and protect millions of Ukrainians. We are grateful, really grateful, that the United States stands with us in this fight for our shared values of human life and independence. You help us, and your help is very strong. While Russia kills, America saves. And you should know about it. We thank you for that. But unfortunately, the war is not over. The terror continues. And I appeal to all of you on behalf of those who were killed, on behalf of those people who lost their arms and legs, on behalf of those who are still alive and well, and those who wait for their families to come back from the front. I'm asking for something now I would never want to ask. I'm asking for weapons. Weapons that would not be used to wage a war on somebody else's land, but to protect one's home and the right to wake up alive in that home. I'm asking for air defense systems in order for rockets not to kill children in their strollers, in order for rockets not to destroy children's rooms and kill entire families. I know that you, ladies and gentlemen, will be leaving for the traditional congressional recess in a week, and all of you will be able to return to your offices in the fall, and probably all of you have already your calendar and schedule for September. This is normal. And it is precisely this normalcy that we Ukrainians are deprived of now. Will my son be able to return to his school in the fall? I don't know, like millions of mothers in Ukraine. Will my daughter be able to go to university and at the beginning of the academic year and experience normal student life? I cannot answer. What should Ukrainian teachers prepare for? to work in classrooms or in bomb shelters. We would have answers if we had air defense systems. In fact, the answer is right here in Washington, D.C. America, unfortunately, knows from its own experience what terrorist attacks are and has always sought to defeat terrorism. Help us to stop this terror against Ukrainians, and this will be our joint great victory in the name of life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness of every person, every family. This is what I'm asking for and what my husband is asking for, not as a presidential couple, but as parents and children of their parents. Because we want every father and every mother to be able to tell their child, go to sleep peacefully. There will be no more airstrikes, no more missile strikes. Is this too much to wish for? The fact that I am here as the first lady of my country and have this opportunity to talk to you about weapons is a manifestation of the greatest equality. This is the equality among free people. People who know what they are protecting, they know what they live for. I hope you heard me today, and I hope that your decisions will be speedy. Thank you for your attention. Glory to Ukraine.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.